right! Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monomi. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who was attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious!
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call— Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Don't say something so stupid! Just...
Now that's more like it!
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's—
It's because the killer tortured—
So that's why. What were they trying to— Definitely the bomb's hiding. If so, is whoever found the—
That was Fuyuhiko. I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up.
I'm telling you, they were—
The reason Nagito's bomb—
It's because the killer—
No, that's wrong! But Nagito's mouth, if he was being tortured for information...
I'm prepared. I just realized—
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught. Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taken,
Obviously, but that was the trap.
damn it! Like you said, you obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut...
How is he supposed to—
Pay attention.
This is— First, the killer tortured and got information. Then, after they killed him... Crap! Pay attention! This is how it went down! First, the killer tortured and got information. Then, after they killed him... Crap! Pay attention! This is how it went. First, the killer tortured and got information. Then, after they killed him...
Allow me to cut through those words! No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was...
What did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well set—
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his—
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off. The blood on Nagito's face.
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds. Which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been—
Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't be— Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape was—
However, if they wanted—
They probably had a—
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer? If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The where?
We can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered and— Yeah, and right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from— Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody—
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's—
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was—
Based on the pattern up in— We should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Some kind of setup?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. Alrighty then. Let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is! The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene.
The killer used some and lit the curtain on fire.
Some kind of setup.
Did they use the
Provides fuse?
The direct
Cause of the fire, the oil lighter found.
The killer used some and lit the curtain on fire.
Some kind of setup.
Did they use the oil?
They probably.
The direct
Cause of the fire, the oil lighter found at.
The killer used some and lit the curtain on fire.
Some kind of setup.
Did they use the oil?
They probably just. Based on the shape of the. It can stand up.
If they tipped over, it could have ignited.
Some way. Maybe they used invisible.
The direct cause of the fire.
Fire was the oil lighter found at.
The killer used some and lit the curtain on fire.
Some kind of setup.
Did they use the oil as an
They probably just. Based on the shape of. It can stand up.
If they tipped over, it could have ignited.
Some way. Maybe they used invisible.
There should have been a way to tip it over sound waves.
The direct
Cause of the fire, the oil lighter found at.
The killer used some and lit the curtain on fire.
Some kind of setup.
Did they use the oil?
They probably just. Based on the shape of. It can stand up.
If they tipped over, it could have ignited.
Some way. Maybe they used invisible.
There should have been a way to tip.
Or perhaps intense wind pressure.
to tip over the lighter. The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some and lit the curtain on fire.
Some kind of setup.
Did they use the
Oil?
They probably just. Based on the shape of that. It can stand up.
If they tipped over, it could have ignited.
Some way. Maybe they used invisible.
There should have been a way to tip.
Or perhaps opening the door caused.
I agree with that. I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown in.
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the... It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
A domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and...
In place of those tiles, the killer. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second. And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling?
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the dump.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
Crap! I see! You were talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
That's it. But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
So the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling
Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door,
Because the panel was blocking it.
but the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
I see!
If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now they...
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
based on the patterns up until.
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
You don't mean...
Hajime? What do you mean?
This is my answer! What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up?
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
He was the victim, and he was the perpetrator too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid. His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget? Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to...
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It seems we need to discuss how...
need to discuss... That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.